Today's reading is all about the idea of self-love. So if you've been looking for some messages and some answers regarding that, stick around. We're going to use the tarot and the oracle cards to really dig into that. And welcome to my channel. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Leesa. I'm a certified tarot consultant whose goal is to help you leverage the power of the tarot and oracle to navigate your life and help make your life amazing. And today I have a really exciting reading for you. We are going to be focusing on that idea of self-love, making sure that we're spending time, dedicating time to ourselves, making sure that we are feeling good about who we are in our bodies, in our minds, and that's what we're going to look at today. So while I'm going ahead and getting set up, make sure that you are getting yourself into that kind of fuzzy headspace, because I'm going to need you in just a couple of minutes here, less than that, actually, to tap into your intuition. So if you've never done a pick a card reading before, basically you will get one of the readings that I'm doing today, and you're going to tap into your intuition and choose one of the cards that I'm going to lay out, and then we will go from there. So like I said, slow your breathing. And in just a second, I'll lay these out. Okay. All right. So I actually have three different objects for you today, guys, to take a pick with. I have three different flowers. Okay, the first one is this beautiful marigold. I pulled all of these, not pulled, but I picked all of these out of my yard today. So here's a beautiful marigold. This is from a hydrangea plant. Actually, I think it's called a snowflake hydrangea or an autumn something hydrangea. I always forget what it's called, but it's real pretty. It's a climber. You can see that it's trying to get over. And then the last one, this is an annual. I cannot remember what this one is called, but it's got this beautiful kind of red orangey color. It's a beautiful cone right there. All right, so hopefully you have relaxed, you have taken a deep breath in, you're feeling tuned in. I want you to go ahead and take a look at these three flowers and decide which one of these is speaking to you today. Okay, now that you've decided, we're going to jump in. Give a thumbs up, guys, if you are excited about the reading, and feel free to subscribe, of course, so that you don't miss the other readings that are coming out. But we're going to start with this pile right here. So if you chose this beautiful yellow flower, then we are going to start with you. The other ones, I'm going to put the timestamps below, so you'll go ahead and slide to those readings. So go ahead and skip ahead. Okay, so group number one with our beautiful marigolds. I don't know if you guys have these or not, but these are huge. I got them from a local greenhouse here, and I was just surprised by how big they got. So they've just been wonderful all year. And the very first card that I have for you is the Shaman card. And this card is all about that concept of being connected with spirit and being connected with a higher power. And so in regards to this particular reading, the first idea that I'm getting for you is, you know, as you're on this journey of self-love or just trying to dedicate time to yourself, make sure that you are connecting with spirit along the way. That's going to be instrumental for you. So don't leave that on the wayside. Remember, that's a big part of who you are or who you should be, or a way to help gain some sort of foothold or footing if you're struggling a little bit. So the way that we're going to do this, guys, is I have three sets of tarot decks, and I actually have a set of oracle cards, and we are going to look at how we can focus on this self-love journey in three different ways. The first thing we're going to look at is maybe what is blocking you, what types of things are maybe keeping you from giving yourself the attention and the love that you deserve. So we're going to look at that first. And then we're going to look at some activities that you should do and some things you should focus on that will help you out. All right. All right, excellent. So just looking at some those things that are potentially blocking you at this point. I have the Ten of Wands and I have Death reversed. Okay. So heavy, heavy burdens. If we take a look at this Ten of Wands card, guys, you can see here from far away, you're like, oh wow, it's like a tree city or something like that. But you see she's actually holding, this being is holding up everything on their back. There's so much of a burden here. And the Death reverse card, when I see that, I see something that is being kind of caught up in that regeneration process. So, life is constantly about death and rebirth, right? Death and rebirth. When I see the Death card come up reversed, to me in this instance, and oftentimes it's about something that's long overdue, needing to be put away or moved on from, or just that idea that something's kind of stuck. So I'm seeing these big burdens here, and a lot of them are very, for many of you, they're very, very external. But, it could be work, it could be family members, it could be things along those lines. For some of you, this is going to be very mental. You have the whole world on your shoulders. And how are you supposed to take care of yourself if you're dealing with everything else? And so for many of you, this is one of the biggest issues is, you don't have time for yourself. You don't have time to focus on yourself, on your well-being, on your mental health, because you're so busy with other things. Okay, so if that is the case for you, then this is definitely kind of a heads up to say, no, you need to better take care of yourself so that you can take care of these things. Okay, this person needs to be healthy and in a good frame of mind, or all of this is going to tumble and fall. So no matter how busy you are, you need to make sure that you're taking time for yourself. All right, I'm going to hold off on this one. This is going to be part of a 3-card message when we get through these this first part here. So we're just going to hold off on this. So the next thing that I want to do is take a look at some things from a mental or emotional standpoint that you can do that will help you when it comes to this concept of self-love. What is something that you can do? What is something that you can take away that's going to be more, up in your mind or up in your head, or just working through thought processes or working through emotions. And I just want to see what will come up for us. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of sort of mental slowing down. I'm seeing a lot of review. I'm seeing a lot of taking a deep breath and stepping back. When I see the Ten of Swords, guys, to me, this is very, it's a tough card. If you look here, you can see you have this one person laying on the ground, this person over top of them, and almost this lightning bolt sort of coming through the center where there's this break. But the 10 is one of those things, once again, kind of going back to this Death card here, reverse, this idea of sort of being stuck. The Ten of Swords often is about something that needs to move on or is in the very end stages. If you've ever gotten to if you've ever had a thought, an idea, a project, anything at all that maybe hasn't gone well, and you sort of breathe a sigh of relief when it's all done, because you're like, well, at least we're done with that. There's nothing more there. I'm seeing a lot of that, this idea of like mental baggage, holding a lot in your head, but needing to slow down. So for many of you, I also see kind of list making here. So one thing that I know oftentimes can be really helpful if you have a lot in your head or you have a lot that's weighing on you, getting it out, finding a way to put it on paper. So I would say for many of you, consider doing a few things. And here's some options. You don't have to do them all, but these might be some things that would be really, really helpful for you. For some of you, journaling. Journal, get your ideas out on paper. Take time to really kind of chew things chew things over. That's such a weird way to say it, but get it out on paper. For some of you, if you have too much going on, or maybe this really resonated with you here, sometimes making a list of everything that needs to be done will get that stuff out of your head. If you are struggling with something like it's just one, it's not a million things, but it's one thing, once again, kind of getting your ideas down on paper, being able to sit there and work with it, and then be able to move on from that. But there's a lot about kind of mentally looking at whatever's going on, slowing down and really looking at it and working through it mentally. However that's going to work for you. So, journaling, list making, scratching stuff out. I mean, just get it out of your head. It could be just talking to someone. It could just be dumping, on someone who's willing to just listen. But anything along those lines will certainly help. Okay, let's take a look at something that's going to be a little bit more physical, something that you can actually do, kind of get up, maybe get your body moving, or actually focus on your body in some way or another. But I want to focus more on the physical aspect of things. Okay. Oh, wow. Gosh, sometimes I just need these. Guys, I am seeing such a break. Just take some time. Take some unplugged time. I'm seeing, I said physical, and what I'm seeing here is just chill. Take a day if you need to kind of indulge in things that feel really good for the body. So whatever that means for you, because sometimes for me, exercising is not necessarily the best thing for me if I'm like, oh, I want a lazy day, or I just want to indulge. But I guess it could be. So think about things that are going to make you feel good or might make you feel relaxed, and take some time to just physically tap into that. So if you're the type of person that loves to run and you feel like $1,000,000, by all means, go for it. If you're the type of person who, if you took a day and ate bonbons on the couch and streamed Netflix for 7 hours, great. But physically, that idea of doing something, I can see taking a bath. I can see, I'm seeing a lot of things that are inside. I'm not seeing a whole lot of outside stuff. I'm seeing, stay in, pamper yourself, take time making yourself feel really good. That's what you need to focus on. So just take a whole day where you're eating really good food, you are doing things that physically make you feel really good, and you're just taking a day in the house to yourself or with just your closest people that you enjoy spending time with. That's what I'm seeing here, just kind of an unplug type day. All right, so we looked at these 3 things here. So of course, so far, we have what are some of the things kind of holding you back? What are those things mentally we want to think about, and some of those physical things? But I want to look at just a general message overall. This is simply going to be a reminder or something to keep in mind as you are moving forward. Okay. So we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. We have the King of Swords, and we have the Queen of Wands reversed. Wow. Okay, you know what? And guys, one thing that's interesting to me is when I see just a boatload of court cards, a lot of times to me that is really indicating something that is very, very internal. And in something, when we look at something about self-love, when we're talking about a reading regarding that, it makes a whole lot of sense, right? All right, so, there is a definite reminder for you to stand in your own power and understand that who you are and what you bring to the world is valuable and is necessary and is needed. Necessary and needed are very similar, Leesa. But yeah, it's something, you know, what you have to offer the world is definitely something that needs to be out in the world. And there can be a tendency to be overly dramatic. There can be a tendency to hide away. There are, you know, there's the tendency sometimes for us to put on a very stoic face and pretend that nothing matters to us, or pretend that, you know, we have, you know, that armor that's on. But these cards here are just reminding, or, you know, they're telling me to remind you that, you know, whatever you have to bring to the world is very unique and is going to be different. You don't need to hide. You don't need to shirk away. And it is important that you are getting yourself and your ideas out into the world in a way where you're not hiding from yourself or from other people. Okay, now I have one last card. This is more about the attitude that you need to have over the next 30 days or so to help you kind of take some of these ideas or seeds of ideas and get them implemented, and also keep this idea of self-love in mind. But I'm going to do this at the end of the video, so there's a timestamp below. Go ahead and slide forward to that, and I'll see you there. Okay, so let's move to those of you that picked this pretty clematis flower, or flowers. All right. And the card that we have for you is the Desert card. And this is all about that idea of a vision quest. So that concept of basically, you know, someone would go out into nature and just take some time there to focus on themselves and be by themselves, which is interesting because we're talking here about that concept of self-love. And so while we are, you know, thinking about everything here, you know, there is this idea that perhaps you need to withdraw in some way in order to get to a place where you feel and know yourself a bit better. So sometimes being silent and being by yourself and being in touch with nature can really, really help. So if you have not had a chance to go out and like stick your hands in the dirt, or just, you know, sit out in a park for a while, or take an afternoon out by a river or the ocean or the mountains or whatever is near to you, definitely take some time to do that, because that can really help with balancing. So I would say over the next month, definitely take time to, you know, take a trip or anything out to a park, or even if you have to just wander a few city blocks until you find a patch of grass, you know, and just connect that way. But let's dip into the tarot cards here. So I'm going to pull a few different things. I want to look first of all with these cards as to maybe what's blocking you in regards to this this quest for better self-love and self-care. And then we're also going to take a look at some emotional and mental actions you can take, as well as some more you know, physical active things that you can do. And then towards the end, I have just a general message for you. So let us get moving. All right. And these ones, we're going to hold off on the ones I'm going to put over here. But for now, let's take a look at what might be blocking you. Okay, so I just love these cards. That they're just absolutely beautiful. When I look at these cards, guys, the Page of Pentacles and the Six of Wands would normally speak to me about really strong opportunities for you, or potentially working really hard to get to a place that you're at, or having strong career goals in mind, or having some sort of thing that you will have worked hard for and you're seeing some success in. So typically I would say, wow, these are some pretty good cards. If this is what's blocking you though and keeping you from spending time focused on yourself or working on yourself, because these are two fairly, you know, this is all about individual achievement, individual focus here. So I'm seeing two things, and kind of depending on who you are. Of course, this is a collective reading. I'm seeing two things. Number one, some of you might be way too career-oriented or goal-oriented right now, to the point that you are sort of workhorsing yourself into the ground and you're not giving yourself the time that you need. The other thing that I'm seeing is that some of you have these goals or these ideas or these concepts that are either so far out in left field, or something that you have this fear on even grabbing, that you're not moving forward. So for some of you, you are stuck because you just have a lot of these, maybe some of these successes which are weighing on you, and it's keeping you from spending time with, focusing on yourself. And for some of you, you have the burdens of these things that you want to do but are sort of not. And every time you think about them, it's like pushing down on you like a burden. So depending on who you are, one of those is going to be the case. So keep that in mind, because if either one of those is true for you, how can you work through that? How can you change that? How can you focus on that, and making some realistic changes to move those blockages out so that you can focus more on yourself. So I want to take a look here, guys, at something that you can do, sort of in the mental, emotional realm, that might help kind of kickstart things for you. Okay. All right. So, Five of Swords, guys, and it's interesting because we're talking about the mental realm, and for me, oftentimes the swords are very mental cards. They're this concept of having thoughts or ideas or things that you sort of kick around. Five of Swords reversed, a lot of times is about overcoming something that has just been this thing that's just been weighing on your mind. And when I see the Chariot card, there we go. When I see the Chariot card, it's this concept of taking control and knowing where you're going. At the same time, when I see the Five of Swords, okay, so I'm seeing here this need for you kind of mentally to sort of defeat whatever this thing is that you have in your head that's been a stumbling block for you, and that's been preventing you from being able to take care of yourself the way that you should. The Five of Swords reversed, guys, when I say that it's about kind of defeating something that's been a problem, oftentimes it's very, very social, meaning you're not doing it alone. You're leaning on other people. Okay, so for this, in terms of what can you do, I'm seeing you talking with people, talking about this thing or these things that have been really problematic for you. And I'm seeing you finding at least one really good person where you can bounce ideas off of, trying to come up with some really solid solutions, even if it's not brainstorming, even if you just need to speak with someone and just kind of dump some ideas off on them or just sort of unload on them, that could be an option. Maybe you talk and it's not even going into another person's ear. It might be good. Everyone has those voice memos on their cell phones. Sometimes it's good just to dump off in there. You can listen to yourself later and or even delete it. Okay, but I'm seeing this very conscious effort to sort of talk through some of these things that have been bothering you or frustrating you, and identify, one, two, or three things that have been keeping you from paying attention to yourself more, and spend some time hashing over those things with someone else, whoever it is that you trust. Okay, now let's take a look at something that maybe we can do that's going to be a bit more active. Okay, and what I have here, guys, is the Ten of Cups reversed, and I also have the Emperor, but I am not the first thing that kind of came to my mind had nothing to do with the traditional meanings for the cards. It was brought very much to the images that are in here. So when I saw the Emperor, kind of one of the first things I saw was this. I don't know if that's supposed to be a shell or not, but it made me think of a shell. This made me think of the sunshine, and all this here, obviously being a Cups card, there's so much sort of fish, ocean, sea type imagery. So I'm seeing, if you have the ability to go to the beach or go to a river or go to a lake, that's what I'm seeing. If you don't live anywhere close to those things, or that's just not possible for you, I'm seeing, taking a bath or something with water, or spending time in the pool, or something where you are able to just relax and enjoy. Or I don't know, it doesn't always have to be relaxing. I'm just seeing a lot here with water, spending time in water. For some of you, this could be reconnecting with the element of water, if that's something that you work with or do things with. But something with the ocean, the sea, rivers, lakes, and if that is just not viable for you, just water in general. So physically, what is something that you can do with water, as an element? Heck, maybe you need to drink more water. I don't know. Do you drink enough water in a day? Maybe that's it. All right. And now let's take a look. I want to look at just a general message that's going to help you. So already we've kind of looked at this idea of, maybe you're being blocked by ideas that have never come off the ground, that you're feeling guilty about, or perhaps, you just have something that's been a little bit too successful. Want to make sure that you're taking some time to kind of get rid of some of those mental burdens by speaking through those things, either to someone else or certain people, or even just, like I said, a voice memo to yourself, or just uttering it into the space, but just getting it out of your head some. And then obviously taking some time in some sort of body of water and reconnecting that way. But let me see here. All right, so I want to take a look at just this final message here. And actually, I have one more too. We're going to take a look at another one. So it's not really the final, but the final tarot card, this last tarot card message here. I have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. I have the King of Pentacles reversed. And I have the Ten of Wands reversed. Okay. Wow. And more, I'm seeing a lot here, guys, with this idea of achievement. And so the message I'm getting here, okay, a couple of things. Okay, everything is cyclical. So every success that you have, even if you feel real good up at the top, eventually that success is going to grow old, and you're going to be looking for something else to strive for. Okay, so even people that are up at the top have to constantly kind of rebuild themselves. Okay, so so that is one message that I'm getting. So what that means for you, and if you say, hey, I've been struggling with success. Okay, so it's a reminder then that, no matter where you are on this cycle, if you're starting out at the bottom or if you're up on the top, it is a cycle. People constantly are going to have to build and rebuild and rebuild, and that's part of life, and it's part of figuring out who we are. Okay, so if you are caught, because I'm seeing here for many of you, this idea of being caught up in this need to succeed, or this need to be successful in one way or another, or need to have something that you can claim and say, hey, I have this thing, whether or not that's a relationship or a particular physical possession or a position at work, or a relationship, or something along those lines. But this idea like, hey, I want this thing, and when I have this thing, I'll feel really good about myself. And that's the second message, that you are not defined by the things that you have. You are not defined even necessarily by the station that you hold in life, or the check boxes that you've managed to tick as you've gone through life. So that is something that could be holding you down, or causing you strain in your brain. So keep that in mind. I want to look at sort of an attitude that we need to have, you need to have moving forward into the next month. So I'm going to do this at the end of the video. So slide forward. I have a timestamp there. And I will see you at that point for your, this time for real, final message. Okay, so for those of you that chose this pretty orange flower here, let's see what we get. All right. And I get the clouds card, which is all about shape shifting. So guys, this is the first message to start out just has to do with the way that you present yourself to the world. So how people see you physically when they look at you, so your hair, your clothes, whatever, and the way that your personality shines out of you. So this card is a reminder that that person that you show the world is not 100% up to you, because that's not something that, you know, we can't control everything physically about ourselves, but there's a lot of things that you can change. So this is telling you just right off the bat, you know, is there a mix up or change up or shape shifting that needs to happen? You know, do you need to, you know, change your clothing style, change your haircut, change your attitude? You know, what is here that needs to be kind of looked at and, you know, potentially adjusted? So I'm going to pull from 3 different tarot decks here, guys. We're going to take a look first and foremost at some of those things that might be blocking you and keeping you from that self-care or self-attention or self-love that you need and you should be giving yourself. That's the very first one that we're going to look at. We're also going to look at some actions that you can take that's really going to help you out. And then we are also going to look at a general message as well. And then towards the end, we are going to look at one final card as well. So, okay, we're going to start here. And these are some things that are potentially blocking you and keeping you from what you need to be doing in regards to yourself. And wow, 2 Pentacles, guys, right off the bat. So the Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. So now remember, guys, this is a collective reading. So what this is specifically speaking to is going to kind of depend on who you are. But let's start with sort of the general energies behind here, and we can go from there. So the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, guys, the Pentacle cards in general deal a lot with physical, tangible things. So we could be, it also deals with the body itself. So, you know, something that you can touch, right? Something that you can grab or hold on to. It also deals with money. So the Knight of Pentacles, you know, this card is, you know, someone or something or an idea that has a definite trajectory, but it's moving very slowly. And the Queen of Pentacles, oftentimes when she's on her head, to me, can be a couple of things. It's she's, you know, acting illogically. I also see the Queen when she's upright as being a very, very mothery type figure. So when I see this flipped on its head, guys, I have a couple of different things depending on who's watching, and you know, pick the one that seems to resonate with you the most. But some of you, number one, you are not mothering yourself very well, so to speak. You are not taking care of yourself. You have things, and for everyone, I'm seeing this idea of clinging too tightly and too closely to something that needs to be released or allowed to flow a bit more. Okay, so this could be money. This could be, like I said, tangible things. So for some of you, or it could be deal with your body, right? So some of you are clinging too tightly to a job or money or body issues or physical possessions or anything along those lines, and it's taking a toll on you as a person. So what are you clinging too tightly to? What are you holding on to too tightly that is keeping you from being able to take care of yourself the way that you need to be taken care of? And that's the very first thing. Look, it's kind of going back to that shape-shifting concept. That's the very first thing I need you to think about, is what is holding me back? Because this is showing a rut, and it's showing a rut because you're focused on something you should not be focused on, or you don't need to focus on it as much. It's causing issues. It's you're going to pay a toll for it. All right, so this is going to be looking at something mentally, okay, or emotionally that we can do and focus on. Okay. So once again, 4 Pentacles kind of coming up. All right. And guys, it's interesting because if there is, I said that the Knight was a kind of a slow moving card, but I would say the 4 of Pentacles is probably perhaps the not movingest card in the whole deck. And I see that with the Five of Wands, which is a very, very active card. So remember, I just told you this idea of like needing to release and needing to let go. And here comes this card of like hoarding, you know? And so mental, this idea of, mentally or emotionally just hoarding and holding on to things up in your head. This is telling me right here that you need to find a way to ditch that or get rid of that. And actually, for some of you, and this isn't everyone, so I don't want everyone going crazy here. Some of you, this needs to be a confrontation or an argument. And in fact, I'm going to say for a lot of you it is, and it could even be something internally. And so maybe you need to argue with yourself over something. Tell yourself, hey, you just need to get your shit together. Maybe you need to have it out with another person. And this could be where you actually sit down and talk, debate, yell with another person. Or it could be, I know people when they're really frustrated with someone, but they know that they can't, they just have to let it go. They know it's something more in their head. And this might be something that happened a long time ago for you, where you're still holding on to resentment or these emotions that shouldn't be there. Sometimes writing a letter or something to someone and then never sending it, you burn it or whatever. Sometimes I don't know if anyone's ever had those conversations where you talk to someone because you're frustrated with them. You just tell them everything you feel, but you're uttering to yourself in your own living room. That is what some of you guys need to do. You need to just release. So what needs to be said that has been unsaid? What is weighing on your mind or your emotions that needs to be released by you just getting it out? Okay, figure that out over the next few weeks. That's going to be important for you. No one blame me for any ensuing conflicts that happen from this. Do it smartly. Okay, let's look at something physical that you can do that's really going to help you out. Wow. Okay. Hold on one second here. I've got the very first thing that popped in my head, which is not going to work well for everyone, is an idea of just going out and celebrating. Grab some friends, go out and grab a drink if you are legally able to drink. Go out for coffee or tea, if that makes sense, or whatever beverage floats your boat. But that is kind of what I'm seeing. The very first thing I'm seeing is find a reason to celebrate. And, go out and actually socialize with people. For some of you, that's going to be the very best thing that you can do for your self-love and self-care this month, is finding other people that understand your worth and going and spending time with them. If you are, a couple of other things I'm seeing here. Hold on. I love this idea of just celebration. Okay. So this is telling me that you need to find a way to just celebrate life in general. So what can you do? Can you go out for a picnic and just enjoy the sky and the earth around you? Can you go out and do something really physical and just enjoy the way that your body moves and reacts, and all that fiery energy? What is something that you can do out there where you will be celebrating the people around you or your body or the world or anything out there, where you just physically get out there and feel really good about where you are and where your place is in the world? That's what you need to do. Pick a time, pick a place, pick something this month where you can get out and do that. All right, let's take a look at another message here just in general. So obviously we have this sort of feeling stuck attitude, needing to go out and maybe hash it out with someone or with ourselves, spending time, really celebrating. And then also, let me see here. Judgment, Nine of Swords reversed, Ace of Wands reversed. Okay, wow, what a beautiful Judgment card. Okay. All right. So a few different things really here, guys, to look at. Nine of Swords reversed. I'd so prefer to see this card flipped on its head. Okay. So the first thing I'm seeing here, guys, with this Judgment card, and this isn't just in Judgment in general, but for this particular card, I'm getting this idea that you need to find people around you that are going to lift you up and help you be that person that you need to be. Also a reminder that things that are difficult just don't disappear overnight. A lot of time change can take a while, and small changes build up over time, but they take a little while to come to fruition. So it's a reminder to find things and people around us that will lift us up and turn us into that person that we're really looking to be. That doesn't mean that everything else that we had that was difficult is just going to disappear. And sometimes things can be a bit slower. But that, doesn't mean that change isn't happening and that things won't be better in the long run. All right. So we're going to look at what you need to do over the next month or so in terms of your mindset. That's the last card I'm going to pull. It's at the very next timestamp, but you guys can just stick right around because you were third group. So let's take a look, guys, at one last card here. And while I am shuffling, I just want to remind you that, for some of you, some of the things that I mentioned or the changes that you should make or the actions that you should make, some of those are they weren't necessarily groundbreaking, but they're all things that can be done that are going to help pave the way for a better self-love, self-care, self-identity, any of those fabulous things where we're trying to take better care of ourselves. So keep that in mind. Not everything always has to be earth-shattering, but I want to take a look at an attitude that maybe you want to focus on, or a type of energy that you want to pull into the next month or so as you're hopefully trying to enact some of these changes. Before I pull the last card though, guys, just a reminder, if you've made it this far, I would love to have you as part of the community. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and certainly give a thumbs up. Let me know which one of these flowers you chose, and if the reading resonated with you, I'd love to hear that. So we got the oh no card, and look at his face right there. All right, so oh no, this card basically says, life's gonna come at you. The attitude that you need to take moving forward is that whatever comes at you, try to roll with the punches. Be that person who can take it and leave it, and try to have that attitude moving ahead, because life is going to be a whole lot easier if you allow it sort of to run off your back and not bog you down too much. Okay, so that's the attitude that you want to have moving forward, no matter which one of these piles you chose. So guys, that's the reading that I have for now. If you haven't seen your Taroscope or your month ahead reading, I would definitely go ahead and check those out. If you would be interested in getting a one-on-one reading from me, I certainly do those as well. All those links are down below, but I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.